At about 7:20 p.m. on the 16th of January 2024, residents of the ancient city experienced one of the most catastrophic incidents in the history of the state and indeed Nigeria.
The place, like when the thing went, I went close to the fire trying to put it off. Thank God it did not blow up at that material time.
I just can't actually fathom how an explosion would happen in a place like this. It's something I can't fathom because it's not something anyone would envy seeing.
I'm right here at the epicenter of the January 17 bomb explosion or explosion that happened here in Bodija estate on Dejo Oyelese Street. It's quite a devastating atmosphere here. There's so many people here who have been deprived or who have been deprived of their properties. Lives have been lost, and the whole environment has just gone quiet. People are just not happy about what has happened here today or on a few days ago, and dignitaries have been coming here to kind of give their sympathy to those who have been affected by this explosion. We are just doing this to keep this on record, to make sure that this incident is publicized to the public, and we want to make sure that this gets to the government so that they can be able to do something to compensate those who have been affected by this explosion. We will continue to give you updates on how we're going on in this documentary. Thank you. It was an explosion that caught many unawares in a residential area of Adeyi Street off Dejo Oyelese and Adeyi Street of Bodija Estate, one of the most elitist area of Ibadan, where majority of the residents are either retired and serving emeritus professors, former deputy governor, and other high-profile professionals. Properties worth millions of naira sank to the ground, and many lives were lost. And those who managed to survive were rushed to different hospitals for immediate medical attention. According to eyewitness account, what happened that evening could be likened to a war zone like that of Gaza.
Well, it was like, to me, it was like something from CNN. It was like Gaza, let put it that way. It's still, anytime I come here, I know the emotional stress that I go through at the end of the day. It's not something that I want to see all the time, but we don't have a choice.
Everywhere was cloudy. Couldn't see properly. There were people. I saw dead people just before the house. I saw like 2 dead bodies.
Major parts of the city were thrown into panic as many felt a wave shock they had never experienced before. It was unclear to many what would have happened. Different assumptions started to fly around that a gas plant had exploded, while some believed it was a heavy thunderstorm.
So immediately we were walking, we were hearing all sorts of rumor. It says a fire in the generator, what we call that transformer. They saw a house was on fire and called the transformer. The next thing we heard that it was this petrol station over there, West Pool or whatever they call it. The next thing we heard is gas line. I said, how can gas line explode?
It was not out of place for some who thought the world had come to an end. Nobody was sure of what exactly was happening. One thing we can't take away from the incident was the quick response from the State Fire Brigade, Federal Relief Management Agency FEMA, and other disaster management agencies like the Red Cross and even security agencies deployed to the scene of the blast to immediately evacuate victims trapped in the rubbles. Even the #1 citizen of the state, Governor Seyi Makinde, was there that evening to assess the level of damage caused by the explosion. Preliminary investigations revealed that the foreign national, believed to be from Mali, who is alleged to be a licensed miner, was an occupant in one of the buildings and was alleged to have stored explosives in a bunker in his apartment. And that was the major cause of the explosion that claimed the lives and destroyed properties worth millions of naira.
Then we were hearing there's an explosion in a miner's house. But I didn't know there's something like that here. must confess that how can they put explosive in a residential area in this peaceful environment?
Getting out to the street, that we discovered that what happened was of a greater magnitude. When I started seeing people well drenched in dust as if they were dug from the ground. And you can only see people that are very close to you. Even the flashlight from the phone could not even see much. And we tried to, and then when I moved forward and got to the Adeyi close junction, I then saw roofing sheets on the ground. I said, this is beyond what one could say what has happened. Roofing sheet, it means roofs were blown off. And I saw the transformer very close there that had been completely damaged. So, all in all, we tried to maneuver. I called the cousin and his wife. They came. They couldn't move their vehicle beyond the close street, which was very close to Chief Bolaji's house. So that was where they had to park their car and trek down here and try to meet us. And that was how we were evacuated. On my way out, on my way to the junction of Adeyi, when I saw Chief and Mrs. Okubi, the owners of Feedwell, that was when I also realized that something terrible had happened, because the two of them were well drenched in dust from head to toe. So I couldn't get the full picture until the following morning, when I go back here from where we went to keep the night. And that was when I saw that it was the Adeyi street was completely wiped. All the houses there were nearly completely wiped out. I think about 3 properties were completely razed to the ground. And more than 10 houses were half or three quarters or completely destroyed. So, and by then, security agents started coming. By the time we were going out around 9 o'clock, I met some security men coming in. But we even couldn't wait to see what was happening, because my wife and I were a little bit traumatized and distressed. So we were even thinking of even going to the hospital, but we give glory to God that it didn't get to that stage for us. We went to my cousin's house and kept the night.
Investigations are still ongoing as at what really happened on that night. Victims have been left homeless, lives have been lost, and residents affected are traumatized, and many are still in shock. The question on the lips of many is that should an individual who is not even a national be allowed to store explosives that can cause a terrible havoc of this magnitude in a residential area? Some have even said he must have the backing of some powerful people within the society. Are those assumptions right? Only time will tell, as it is believed that there should be proper audit of firepowers like explosives before being dispatched to any parts of the country. Some of the residents within the estate recount their ordeal.
I had a blast. So everybody was just running around. So for me, I felt that it is better I just moved to my house. So as I was heading to my house, my wife now called me that they are safe. I should stay where I am. That the blast is actually from our own side. So I was like, what should I do? So I have to stay back as she advised. I was there for like more than 2 hours, 30 minutes.
All of a sudden, we just heard the sound, wah! And like lightning, something flashed, everyone, and another wah! So, and the next thing we saw was shared glasses flying around in the house. And after the second or third sound, everywhere went blank. the light was off, and the thickness of the darkness was unprecedented, which was later discovered to be the dust from the ruins of the epicenter.
I got a call about just close to 8:30 p.m. that night from the tenants in the other wing, that's 30, screaming that the house had been bombed and what was going on. Of course, it was confusing initially of what was it talking about, because I really didn't think there was a bomb blast, or it was last thing on my mind anyway. He actually called me on video and then showed me the property. I was shocked to see the property had no roof. The windows had been blown out, the burglar proof had been blown out. The gates were wide open as a result of the blast.
Post-assessment of the health conditions of many of those caught up in the explosion revealed that many are still traumatized, and definitely life will never be the same for them.
We stayed in the hospital for 2 days before we were discharged. Right now we're staying with our auntie, the woman that took us to the hospital that day.
Okay. The state government has promised to come to the aid of all the victims of this devastating occurrence, but many are concerned about how quick and realistic those promises are. Quick government intervention is what the residents are yearning for, so as to get their lives back on track.
So I think the government should not contemplate that. They should help people to bring back their houses and allow people whose house can be repaired to be repaired.
The Gory Black Tuesday is a day that will never be forgotten in a hurry in the history of Nigeria. The scene has now been named Ground Zero. This is the scene of the explosion that occurred a few weeks ago. This place has now been called Ground Zero. Work is in progress. You can see demolition work is going on. Some of the buildings are being ripped off, and we sincerely hope that normalcy will come back to this environment in the nearest future, so that those who have lost their properties, who have lost their belongings, can now return back to this environment. We only hope that government will do the needful to make sure they resettle the residents of this Adeyi Avenue street here in Bodija estate, Ibadan. Many citizens, including top government officials, have been trooping into the estate to sympathize with residents and also to physically assess the havoc caused by the explosion. At this time, we can only pray that this sort of calamity will never occur again in any community in Nigeria.
The very first day, the whole estate was in chaos. Both the security men and sympathizers, we were trying to locate our members. Some were in the hospital, some went to relatives to keep the night. So we started trying to locate ourselves, but by Thursday, we had an emergency executive council meeting, whereat we tried to gather information about our members who were in the hospital, in which hospital, who were in the hotels, and things like that. We have given information about all the effort that government is making, promising accommodation and things like that. But we said these are people to be calm and try to key into all that the government have mapped out. We learned that the government created the registration hub for all the victims. We advised people to go there. Then we also, on our part, we decided to have an emergency meeting. We were supposed to have our meeting next Saturday, a monthly meeting. So we had one on last Saturday where we gathered information from our people, and also we decided on our own that while the government is for everybody, the government is gathering information about those that were affected, We also, as members of this estate, created a register and decided a form for our members to come and fill this form, supply their data, which we also collate and be able to assist the government with. When the government collates all those that are gone there to register, they will be able to know who are the people who are actually in this place that were the primary victims of the event. And we commenced that exercise this morning. Members of the executive are there at the gate now collecting this form that we have decided from our members. And we also decided at that meeting that we shall try as much as possible to document what has happened, both pictorially and in documentary form, so that will be a point of reference to anybody who wants to assist our members in overcoming the trauma of this unfortunate.
My name is Dejo Oyelese. I'm reporting on behalf of the residents of Dejo Oyelese and Adeyi Avenue Street.